nigga won't take no bit. You don't want a nigga not made like this. Got cars from the dealer, new Benz, new tint, new rims, new paint, new glow, new scent. Got straight with a nigga, no cap, no shit. Have faith in a nigga, goddamn I'm bent. No way could another man play like this.
What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. As y'all know, it's right there and it's free. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about us, be about us, each one, teach one. We appreciate your guys' support, and you guys are always watching us and supporting us. Now today, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by somebody I've been following for a few years now, and I'm glad he came through, decided to want to come through to Unique Access, District 21. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I've known District 21 for a few years now, aka DJ, and just been following his career and excited to see what he's got going on. And he's got a new single. If you guys haven't checked it out and watched the video, it's called July. And the song and the video are very intriguing to me on many, many levels. So we're going to get into that off top, DJ, District 21. So, namely, the song itself, I really liked, and I appreciated the fact that this is it's a love song, but it's not about having sex per se. It's about an emotional connection and a deeper layer of a relationship.
Yeah.
So you've done, that's something that you do on a lot of your songs. It's not just purely physical type of stuff. So for July, what made that something you wanted to address?
I just like the idea of love, you know, the things that involve it, ups and downs. I think it's like it can be complex. It's not as simple as people want it to be sometimes. And so I just wanted to write a song about it. And, you know, as far as like everything I do in my other songs, I can only really write from experience. So, you know, if that's just how I was feeling at the time, that's what the song was. That's what it was, July.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the video, I really like the sense that you guys are on the beach, and it's very visual in the sense that it's not just, you know, a green screen or something like that. So what made you guys want to do it on location and do it really near on the ocean and all that type of stuff?
That's my favorite place. Beach is like, that's like my environment. So when I did a lot of the tape that this song is from, a lot of it was inspired by PCH and driving in Malibu and things like that. So it only felt right to have the first video be there. And it just fit the vibe of the song too. It's like a really bright sounding song sonically. And, you know, I just wanted it to match that aesthetic with the visuals. So that's what we did.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think too, we used to have some videos and rap that were on the beach or that were more, I guess, visually pleasant in that regard.
Yeah.
So what is it about the beach that appeals to you?
I just like the vibe. It's quiet. The water is like really relaxing. It's just a vibe. It's just visually, it's just fire. And so, you know, that's just what attracts me to it. It's just a peaceful place. It's always been one of my favorite places anyway. So, you know, it's just, I don't know, I just feel comfortable over there.
Yeah, me too, man. I love going to the beach. I don't do it as much as I would like to. I need to get back into it, but
Yeah.
I love the beach. Yes, and you mentioned July being on your project Saint Harbor. So for those that are not familiar with you, and those some people have been following you for a few years, like myself, what's the vibe of Saint Harbor compared to your previous releases?
I really took my time a lot more with this one. This is the first time me and my boy Camden Bench, we really locked in and worked on this thing for like, I want to say a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it's one of my most cohesive bodies of work for sure. And the vibe of it is just like, that's the way I like to describe it, is like golden hour almost. Like it's just something you can just ride to. There's like a theme in it. When people hear it, they'll see like the theme of it in as the day is going on and transitioning from the morning to the afternoon, evening to the night. So it's just a vibe. It's just like a golden hour, PCH kind of vibe. Is smooth.
Okay. And is that where the name of St. Harbor comes from, or is it something else?
To be honest with you, I kind of just made the name up because I wanted to make up like a fictional place to where I felt like if I ever wanted to do a movie or make a bunch of videos, I kind of tie into one theme. I'd want to make it set in that one place. And so it's kind of just this world I created within it. And that's what I came up with, St. Harbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of different worlds, we're about to get into a lot of background and you're coming up and stuff, but we got to address in the background, we got Lil Wayne and Kurt Cobain.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what I know Lil Wayne in particular from talking to you a few years ago, you had told me he was somebody that you really admired and he got you that and Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy got you really into rap.
Yeah.
But for Lil Wayne for now, what was it specifically about him that really appeals to you?
Man, Wayne is just he's just an innovator. Like he's the one person where you know he's being himself. And I think that's why he's so imitated now. But he's just a freak of nature, like rap talent. Like he's just incredible. And especially growing up, around 2008, 2009, he was like the biggest star on the planet. And that was like crucial in like my music discovering years. So he means a lot to me just in that regard. But Wayne he's just the best to me. I mean, I argue with anybody that he's the best. So yeah, he's just always been a really big influence for me.
And then what about, in a similar way, what about Kurt Cobain and Nirvana?
I discovered Kurt Cobain and Nirvana in I want to say 9th or 10th grade. My sister was always really into alternative music and grunge and psychedelic rock and all kind of stuff like that. So she's the one who really put me onto it. But once I got into it, I kind of just dove into like who he was. Like I get really obsessed with people who I become infatuated with, like idol-wise. And just his mind. I kind of feel like him and Wayne are really similar. In fact, like, they're just really just being themselves. And people notice that and they can tell and they try to imitate that, but it's never quite as authentic as when they do it. And he's just an innovator. That whole aesthetic with the ripped clothes and the ripped jeans and the sweaters and the flannels and all those things, like that's all Kurt Cobain. And everybody tries to do it. So, and I just love the music on top of that. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, I know it's about being yourself, and that's something we're about to talk about with you because I know that's important. But how do you get from Lil Wayne being yourself and Kurt Cobain being yourself, given that they deliver such, to me at least on outside looking in, it's so different, not even in the same ballpark. How do you feel it's similar?
I think you mean as far as like how are they similar? I think it's just there's certain things that are really authentic about people and they're innovators without even trying to be. And when you have that quality, naturally people want to imitate it or they want to try to recreate it or recreate whatever feeling it is that you're creating or the type of vibe or emotion or anything. So they just both have that to the max. And I think honestly in their worlds, respectfully, like I think they're kind of like in the same spot in their two worlds, like Kurt in the rock and roll world and Wayne in the hip hop world. I think they're kind of like one and the same, personally.
Okay.
And Wayne is like, Wayne is a rock star too. He's like a real rock star. So that's another thing I paid attention to with him also.
So how would you say Wayne is a rock star coming from the rap world? What do you mean?
Because being a rock star is not just the kind of music you make. It's the kind of attitude you have towards everything. It's the way you think. It's the way you move. It's the way you just go about creating your music, the way you go about living your life, it's just a rock star lifestyle. And that's what makes somebody a rock star to me. I mean, the music, I mean, in a literal sense, you can say, okay, he's a rock star technically, but you know, it's just different. It's a way of life, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then with you, for those that don't know, you grew up in Calabasas. That's where you're from.
Hmm.
So now that you've experienced life a little bit, I wanted you to explain that's not a place people think of right off the top when they think of rappers or, quote unquote urban music. So what effect has Calabasas had, do you think, on your mindset, your perspective, and your music?
Um, if anything, from a music standpoint, it's really broadened my perspective on music, um, because there's so many different types of people in this area. So everybody listens to all different kinds of things. When you're hanging out with different groups of people, you're going to hear different kinds of music. So it really broadened my perspective from a music standpoint. It actually made me more inclined and exposed to a lot of things that I might not have normally been exposed to if I just stuck to one kind of environment. You know what I mean? So I think it's done wonders for me, and I really been blessed to meet a lot of people and befriend a lot of people, and a lot of it has really shaped me into who I am. So I'm proud of it.
Now, I know you also had worn the number 21 playing sports. So could you explain how the total name District 21 came about?
Yeah, so 21 has always been my favorite number. It's always just been, it just looks the best to me. So, and Deion Sanders was like one of my favorite athletes of all time, and he's like the 21. He's like the epitome of 21. And so, when I was coming up with like just what I wanted to go as a stage name and things like that, I really wanted to name an album District 21 one day, just because kind of like similar with the creating environments like how I did for St. Harbor and a fictional place, whatever, with real stories though. I wanted to do the same thing with District 21. And then my sister was like, nah, you should make your name District 21. I was like, but it kind of sounds like it's a band or something like that. Like, I feel like people might get confused. And she was like, no, that's why you should do it. And so District 21 it was.
And your sister clearly plays a big role in your life and somebody that's good for you as a sounding board, a confidant, and such. And you also talk not only in July, but throughout Lifeguard or Outsiders Village. There's a lot of interaction with women on the personal side of things. So why is that something that's been a critical point in your life, would you say?
I just love women, so I just like to talk about them, and I like to make music for them. And I just have dealt with women a lot. So that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. Women are like my muse, honestly. So, I can make a whole album about a woman if she intrigues me enough. So that's just kind of that's kind of where the music comes from. And yeah, and I just have some really strong women in my life as well. My mom, my two sisters, and I got a little baby sister now. And yeah, I just got a lot of really good role models of women in my life too. So
Okay.
yeah.
And another main role model in your life is your dad.
Yeah, of course.
For those that don't know, your dad is Mack 10, who's obviously an iconic rapper.
Mhm.
So as you're balancing listening to the women and then getting advice from him, who's known as a street dude, super gangster, all this stuff,
Mhm.
how have you been able to kind of navigate that world of the feminine side and then super hardcore gangster side?
My dad more than anything, my dad is my best friend, and he's obviously a huge role model to me. And I got a lot of my confidence in just dealing with women from him, just so I think that's how I learned how to approach women and things like that, definitely from my dad, and I guess how to deal with women from my mom, You know what I mean? So it kind of goes hand in hand. And yeah, but my dad's awesome. And he's played a huge role in my life and a huge influence for me too. Because he's the first person I saw doing music, period. So that's where I was first exposed to it because I grew up in it. So I couldn't really avoid it.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.